Hi, this is Dave and welcome to The Table, a series of videos where I review and discuss various board and card games looking at them from a family perspective. Today we're going to be taking a look at Dig Down Dwarf. Now this game I originally reviewed, this was the first video that I produced in my series, but the game has now been improved and reworked and is now currently on Kickstarter. Now Dig Down Dwarf is a 2 to 4 player dice set collection game where you take on the role of a dwarven chief in a race to collect the most valuable gems to come back and claim the vacant throne and become the new dwarf king. So let's take a look at this game, how it's played, and I'll come back and I'll give you my thoughts. Okay, let's take a look at the components that come in Dig Down Dwarf, and these are prototype components, so they may not reflect the final product that you will be receiving. But the first thing that we have here is 37 of these gems that are going to come in the game, and they are different colors and they have different values and different abilities. The game will also come with a game pouch that you'll be able to store everything in, but it's also going to be used during the game to draw the gems out in order to seed the gem mine. Now the game comes with 4 different colored dice that will be used during the game rolling to collect these gems, but the different colors also correspond to these dwarf cards that come in the game. We have a red one, a blue one, a green one, and a black one. Now each of these dwarves have a specific objective on them that you want to meet, and they also have specific abilities that can be triggered by those dice. The game also comes with some instruction cards that explain how to play the game, as well as a player reference card here which describes each of the gems, their abilities and their point values, as well as in parentheses how many there are of each in the game. Okay, let me get this game set up and I'll show you how to play. Okay, in Dig Down Dwarf, the objective is that you are playing the role of a dwarven chief and you are in a race to collect the most valuable gems and come back and claim the vacant throne and become the new dwarf king. So, to get this game started, each player has been dealt a dwarven chief card. Now each of the cards has the same type of abilities that are around the outside, which I will get to, and each of them have a unique objective that they would like to meet during the game. For example, here with Fizzlewit, if he's able to collect 1 emerald, 1 sapphire, and 1 amethyst at the end of the game, he will score additional victory points. And each of the different chiefs has their own unique objectives. And the chiefs come in the various colors, red, black, green, and blue, which correspond to these dice here, which I will get to in a minute. Now we'll be referring to this card here throughout the gameplay so that I can explain what each of the gems are and how they score and their different abilities. Now, to get this game started, what we need to do is we need to seed the mine that's going to be in the middle of the game board. So what we're going to do is I took all the gems, I placed them in this pouch, I'm going to give it a shake, and on the first turn I'm going to draw out 6 gems to seed the mine. So there's 4 there, and 2 more here there's 6 of them here. Now I'm going to group them here so that it's easier to see what we're working with. Here we have 1 emerald, 1 sapphire, 2 amethyst, and 2 cursite. Now, cursite are bad. We don't want to end up with those, and you end up scoring them with a pair. And they're worth negative victory points. However, this is set up for a 4-player game, and if we refer to our card here, if we are able to gain 8 of them during a 4-player game, we will score 8 victory points. If we do not have 8, if we have less than 8, they will be worth 1 negative victory point each. Now the other ones all have values and different abilities. Now on our turn, what we will do is we will roll these 4 dice. If we roll any ones that pop up, the dice will become locked and they will not be able to be re-rolled. If we roll a 6, it can be re-rolled at any time, and we will be able to roll these dice 3 times. Now Fizzlewit is red, and if we roll a 6 on here, if we choose to leave this on the table, we will be able to use his first ability, which is wild, which means that we will be able to use that die as any number in order to complete a particular dice combination in order to collect the gems. But on the first turn, what we'll do is now we will roll the dice here. And as you can see here, I have a 1 that is locked in. I will go ahead and pan down here so you can see my dice roll. I have a 1, I have 2 5s, and I have the red 6. Now, what I can do is I could claim this right here and use it as a wild, which is on his card. So if I do that, I could change this to a 5 and have 3 of a kind and score this right away, which is I think what I'm going to do. So I'm going to set this as a 5. Now I have claimed his first ability, so what I'm going to do now is essentially he has gained some experience, so I will now rotate his card this way here. Now if I roll another 6 on a subsequent turn, I would be able to draw a gem from the bag and add it to my stash, or I could use it as a wild. So I have the ability to use either of the abilities that I have unlocked essentially. So I have 3 rolls, but what I'm going to do on my first one, I'm happy with this. I'm going to take the 3 of a kind, and what I will do is I will score, and I will take all of that particular group that's out there to score. So for right now, I have these 2 amethyst out there, and they go into my scoring pile. That will be my turn. The next player, the start of their turn, they will shake up the bag and they will draw 2 gems out and they will place them on the table. So we have another cursite and we have an amethyst. And they will in turn roll their dice here. And we have a 2, a 3, and a 4, and another 3. So if I want to try to go for a straight and try to get this sapphire up here, I can do that. So I'm going to try and roll this dice, and I'm going to try and roll it one more time here. And I have rolled a second 4. Now, I rolled a pair, and so what I'm going to do is I am stuck taking these cursite here. Okay, so now I am already at a -3 victory points. Okay, the next player in turn is going to draw 2 gems out of the bag. We have another amethyst and we have a sapphire. They're going to do the same thing. They're going to roll. We have a 2, 3, 4, 5 that we rolled on the first roll here, which is a straight. Now, what I'm going to do there is, again, referring to my reference sheet here, we have these sapphires, and you need a straight in order to claim them. I'm going to take them because they're worth 4 victory points apiece. That is 8. Now, as you see here, I was able to complete some of these things on the first roll. I don't have to re-roll if I don't want to. So that was a very valuable turn right there. Now we go to player 4, who will in turn pull 2 gems out, and we have a cursite and we have this diamond out here, the most valuable gem in the game. So we roll our dice here. We have a 1, 2 3s, and a 6. The 1 is locked, so I can't roll that again. And I think I'm going to re-roll the 6 here. Maybe I'll get a 1. I rolled another 6. I can re-roll this. As long as I have a 6, I can keep re-rolling here. And I have rolled a third 3. So now I have 3 of a kind in this particular dice roll, so I will score these 2 amethyst. Now we've gone around one time now here. I'm coming back, and now I will draw 2 gems again and place these on the board. Now, any gems that I already have in my scoring area, I can use them now. I can spend them to do different things, with the exception of cursite. Now, if I wanted to, I can use these amethyst on my die roll. I could spend them in order to re-roll an additional or re-roll one of the dice. So let's roll here the first time here and see what we have. We have a 1, 2 4s, and a 5. Now this particular emerald is worth a lot of points, and you can score him with 2 pairs. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-roll this 5 here. I rolled a 6. I can re-roll that again. I re-rolled another 6. I can continue to re-roll as long as I have a 6. And now I have a 3. Unfortunately, I was not able to get another 1 if I wanted to, but I think what I can do is I could spend one of my amethyst here. It will go out of the game in order to re-roll this one more time in an attempt to score a die roll. And I happen to roll a 1, so I have 2 pair here, which I will be able to claim this emerald. So essentially that was a very good move. I discarded a 2 victory point gem in order to re-roll a die, and I gained a 6 victory point gem. So I gain an additional 4 victory points, and it's also helping me to meet my objective here. So I have 2 of the 3 gems already collected, and we're still early on in the game. Now this is going to continue going around drawing gems from these bags and rolling dice in an attempt to claim these particular gems. Once the last gem has been drawn from this bag, there'll be one more turn around, and you will then add up any of the gems that you have, calculating their total victory points, and if you had met your objective, you will gain additional victory point there. I believe the value is 5 victory points, and at the end of the game, whoever has the most victory points becomes the new Dwarven chief, or Dwarven king, and that is Dig Down Dwarf. Okay, let's talk about Dig Down Dwarf here. And the first thing that I want to say is that this game was the winner of the micro game design contest that was hosted by the Game Crafter, and I did have an opportunity to review the original version of Dig Down Dwarf, the Game Crafter version, and it was my very first video that I produced for this series, for To the Table. So if you want to go back and watch that, I'll go ahead and I'll have the link in the video description below. You can go back and watch that. But specifically, I want to talk about this because there has been a number of things that have been changed and improved in this game. And first of all is the component quality. In the original version of the game, we had these acrylic gems that came with the game here, and they functioned very well. They had the different colors and values and abilities. But now the component quality, we've gone to something like this. So you have, here's a comparison between this and this. So something, significant improvement in the component quality. Now, the gameplay, looking at this game, is, yes, it is a simple dice rolling game with set collection, and you're trying to gather up these valuable gems and go back and be able to claim the throne and become the new Dwarf King. But there are a lot of elements that give this game more strategy, and there's a couple things that present some obstacles for you. Number one is that locked die. So if anytime you roll a number 1, the die is locked and you can't re-roll it. And the only way that you're going to be able to re-roll it is by spending gems in an attempt to re-roll them. So it's going to cost you to unlock something. So you have that thing that could pose a potential obstacle for you. However, if you're able to roll 4 1s, you can gain the diamond if it's out. And so you can attempt to get the most valuable gem by essentially working with locked die. And it can happen. Now, the other thing that we're looking at is the ability with the number 6 of being able to re-roll. So if you keep re-rolling 6s, you kind of have essentially a free re-roll every time in an attempt to try and get something that you want. So, so you have those two sides of the spectrum on your dice. Now, a couple of things that add into this game is the ability to use your gems as an ability to discard them or spend them essentially in an attempt to manipulate your dice, either re-rolling them or setting the numbers to specific faces. Now you saw in the gameplay where I did spend a 2-point amethyst. I spent it to re-roll a die, and I was able to roll and have 2 pair, and then I was able to take an emerald. So I essentially gained 4 additional victory points on that particular turn. So you can see that spending the gems can be very powerful. However, if I had, if I spent that and I re-rolled it and I did not gain roll that other 1 to have 2 pair, if I rolled something else, if I did not roll another number 4, I would have been stuck with 1 pair, and so I would have had to take the 2 curse sight, which would have been a -2 victory points, as well as spending 2 victory points, so I would have lost 4. So you can see that there is this element of how you're going to manage your resources and a little bit of risk too. So you have some strategy in this game, and you have to weigh your options on your turn. Now, another cool element that was added in this particular version of the game is having the actual Dwarf Chief cards. And you have, each of the chiefs have their own specific objective that you want to try and meet during the game in an attempt to gain 5 victory points, because 5 victory points is enough to swing the outcome of the game. You could be in third place with only being a few points behind, and if you meet the objective and nobody else does, that's 5 more points that could push you into the lead. So that is a very nice thing too. Another cool enhancement to this game is the dwarf skills, and on each of the cards they have advancing skills that they will be able to use throughout the game, and the way that you gain those skills is by rolling a number 6 and of your particular die color. So if you are, for example, we had the red dwarf. If we roll a red 6, I was able to use the ability if I chose to, and I did on the very first turn. I was able to use that ability, and then I was able to advance my card by tilting it 90 degrees and essentially getting to the next skill level. So you do have these advancing skills that each time that you roll a number 6 of your particular color you can use. Now, the game does not unbalance itself by that, because the probability of you rolling a number 6 on your own die color that number of times during the game is very low. And the gameplay moves rather quickly, so there's not a whole lot of turns that will happen during the game if you're successful with die rolls going around the table. So there's no worries there, but it is a nice ability to have, and obviously it's a nice goal to be able to have that ability where you could raid essentially and take gems from another player, because that could give you a significant lead. So you have those elements that have been added to the game that just add to the overall feel, the theme, and the strategy of the game. And so to me, that just makes Dig Down Dwarf that much better. Now, one of the other changes that came in this particular game from the original is the original just came with, everybody had their own 4 dice that came in the game. So you had 16 dice that came in the game, and so there was an improvement in the overall component count of just having 4 dice, and the ability to hopefully improve the dice quality in this game. And so it just, so there was a good choice there to reduce the number of dice, and so it's less clunky and having the game out on the table. So I like that aspect of it too. Now, looking at this game from a family perspective, this is just a good family game to have everybody around the table. There's very little element of take that in there, so it's not a game where you're intentionally trying to be mean to one another. You have a nice set collection aspect that a family can enjoy. And also, this game is going to teach a little bit of how you're going to manage your resources and a little bit of managing your risk, and you're going to see what happens if you choose to press your luck a little bit more. So you can either, you can see, is it, sometimes is it worth the risk, or you will be able to find out like, oh, well, that really wasn't worth it. So the game definitely does bring that about. But it's a fun family dice rolling game. But the gamers will also enjoy this game too, because of the strategy of managing your resources. Now, yes, there is the luck aspect of the dice, but there is the management of the gems that you've already collected and what you're going to do with them. So this is going to appeal to everybody. So if you would like to take on the role of a dwarven chief and attempt to gather up a bunch of gems and become the new dwarf king, then go ahead and pledge your support to this game on Kickstarter. I'll have the link in the video description below, and you can help bring this game to your table. This is a game that I enjoy immensely. This is something that I've been looking forward to, upgraded components. I've been a fan of this game ever since it was created. So I really feel strongly about this one, and it's a nice small game that you can take with you. So again, pledge your support to this game and help bring it to life. All right, that's it for now, and join me again next time as we take a look at another game and we see how it makes it to the table.